Student of the Game is brought to you by Noll Team Real Estate. Our mission is to eradicate mediocre real estate transactions. On your largest financial purchase, you shouldn't have to deal with average. We do this by helping you save time, reduce your stress, and helping you keep as much money in your pocket as we can. You can help us out by introducing us to your friends or family who want to make confident real estate decisions, whether buying, selling, building, or investing. At Noll Team Real Estate, we are connected to a group of realtors who sell 1 in every 8 homes in North America. If you know someone moving out of your area, there's a great chance we can connect them to somebody we know, like, and trust. Remember, relationships win. Welcome back to another episode of Student of the Game. I'm with my buddy, Zach Kessie. Welcome to the show today, Zach.
Hey, thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
We have so many conversations. We've had so many conversations in the last 20 years about business and life and kids and marriage and finances and small business and then small business and then more small business and leadership. And we've recommended a bunch of books together. But I'm excited to record one of our conversations today. I think this will be fun for both of us. So here we go. Let's start with a quick introduction. Zach, where are you from?
I am from South Whitley, Indiana. One stoplight town. Small town kid.
Is that Whitco?
That's Whitco. Very good.
All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Wildcats. Yeah, here we
Wildcats.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
Zach, we've known each other for quite a while, but something that I've always been impressed with you is your entrepreneurial spirit. I think one of the things that people who are listening to this, they just have this knack for maybe or appetite for taking risks, and I don't think people should take crazy risks. I think people should take risks that stretch you and that help you grow, and I think you've done that, and you're an entrepreneur. What I want people to hear on this episode today are some of the risks you've taken, some of the steps you've taken into getting to where you are today. So now today, fast forward, you're the owner of Clounie Landscaping, who you acquired that business last year. Is that correct?
Correct. Last March.
Tell the listeners, this is a 40-year landscaping business. A business has been in our community for a long time, served our people. Tell the listeners a little bit about Clounie Landscaping before we get into how you got here.
Yeah. So had an opportunity, actually knew the Clounie team, Tom and Lori Clounie, probably for the last, over 20 years since I've gotten the trades, right? They were on our projects back when I think I was in high school working construction. And then as I came back to Fort Wayne in 2006, had worked around them and knew the Clounie name and the Clounie brand. Fortunately, they did great work, reputation-based client or company that did work for the clients they wanted to work for in the commercial space predominantly throughout Northeastern Indiana. So we do new installs. So everything from your typical softscapes to hardscapes to retaining walls, a variety of different projects. So fun stuff.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you talked about how you've known the Clounies because of your construction background and growing up in South Whitley and now becoming a big time business owner here in Fort Wayne and Northeast Indiana. What were some of those construction jobs you've had? Like talk about your history and some of the skills you've learned, getting to this point.
That's a funny question to answer nowadays. Actually started mowing the yard at a construction company in 7th grade.
Are you
serious? Only way I got in the business. Only way. My dad works in manufacturing, and I probably would have been working for one of the ortho guys in Warsaw if it wasn't for the chance in 7th grade to start mowing the yard at a construction company. And then full circle to last year, I buy a landscaping business in the construction industry. So worked my way through the field all through high school. The guy from mowing to cleaning the shop to being a laborer to cleaning up. I was told I wasn't going to be a very good carpenter. So the guys I worked with told me to go to school. So I became a project manager, went to Purdue.
You went to Purdue, right?
Yep. Boilermaker.
BCM. Yeah, BCM.
Yep.
I remember, this is now just jogging my memory now,
Yep.
but you and my cousin Joe, I think we're in the same class or something, had some similar classes.
Yep. We graduated together. Yep.
Building construction management at Purdue.
That's right.
Boiler up.
Yep. Boiler up. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So wasn't going to be a carpenter. So moved into the project management side, had some good internships, worked for big companies, small companies, growing up at a small company. I was told, my mentor back then, the guy that picked me up to mow the yard, Rick Creech, said, you can go work for a big company and come back to a small company, but you can't do it vice versa. And so he sent me out of the nest my sophomore year with a big boy internship, and had my first real internship with Hagerman. Got sent to Terre Haute to build the prison, so that was fun.
You didn't stay though, right?
Didn't stay. Poured concrete all summer long. Realized that wasn't for me either, but learned a lot. So yeah,
that's awesome. Well, so take me back to you were in the construction business, right? Take me back to the point where you knew that Clounie Landscaping either was for sale or it was a part of a strategy. Like, I think we can acquire this. I think we can make this work. What was that like?
Well, I was calling it a midlife crisis for like the first 2 weeks after I made the decision, but it's really a midlife opportunity because I chose it, right? I was blessed to have a good track record and runway with the MKS team for almost 15 years, and wasn't really looking, but always had that itch, and I think you said it when we started this. Some people are just have that itch. Some people are born that way. I got it from my mom. I got it honestly. Probably my grandpa before that, but like just had that itch and wasn't really looking. But I talked to people about real estate and their succession plans when I go to lunch with them, right? Because I love both, and especially with the aging business owners right now. And it was just a chance conversation with a friend of mine, Tom Clounie, and he asked me why I was asking all these questions, and I was just asking questions because I like to talk and ask questions. And then it turned to the next thing and started playing pretend. And fast forward, I think I took 2 conversations. Don't tell my wife. I had 2 conversations when I told her that what I was kind of scheming or thinking in my head. So again, it's in my industry. I wasn't going out and, building a bar or entertainment area or, making widgets and buying a factory or anything like that. Right. So an opportunity to stay in my industry, but also kind of hang my own shingle and, put my money where my mouth is and go out and lead a team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Talk about, because you've done a couple things. You've started businesses from the ground up. You've now bought businesses. Buying an established company is different than starting one. What do you think some of the biggest challenges are right now of this company that's 40 years old, and now you're taking this on, you're taking it over? What are some of those challenges like?
Well, I think the interesting part is you have 40 years of history, good, bad, or indifferent. Most of the time it's indifferent, right? It's just the way it's been. Really successful company in this case, or I wouldn't have, went down this rabbit trail, but just getting your hands around the tribal knowledge of the team, figuring out where things lie, figuring out how people work, figuring out people's background, right?
Yes.
I have people that have only worked here at Clounie, great people. They haven't seen the other side of the coin, or just like I haven't seen the landscaping side. They haven't seen the other side of working for a general contractor or construction manager, right? So I think of meeting people where they're at and asking a ton of questions. It's probably the biggest item.
Well, so my follow-up question, and you kind of answer that, is like, how do you honor that? How do you honor the legacy that the Clounie's built?
Yeah, I try to take the whole first year and just go on a fact-finding mission, right? Ask a lot of questions, try not to make a lot of changes. Of course, it's like a new baby. You're ready to get started. It's a new house. You want to start painting it the way you want it, put your stuff away, whatever it may be. So of course you can ask my team, we made changes, right? We made inputs, but really just to go out and see what everybody did and does every day, and what they've done in the past, what they want to be when they grow up, right? Empowering the team, not assuming, which is hard, especially as we get older. Right. We think we know that's best. So.
Absolutely. Tell me about the scariest day during the transition. Like, was it was it after you had led the lunch? Is it when you bought and closed on the business? Was it like your first team meeting and you're there leading it, or when you had to go home and tell your wife?
Did you say day or days? Because
you business owners out there, owners can relate to what Zach just said. It's how many days are there that are scary, right? It's
and like, what part, right?
Oh, it's a new month. Okay, it's scary again. Oh, it's a new quarter. Okay, it's a new year, right?
Right.
And so you're in this cycle. But was there a day that stood out to you of like, oh my goodness, what am I doing?
Well, I think as an ex-project manager, right? Like, I'm used to working a deal. I've done real estate deals both for myself and in my past life for the team I worked with, right? So this deal was like just a deal. It was a task. Then you get through it, right? And you're managing, a group of attorneys, agreements, whatever it may be, banking relationships, whatever it may be. And then you get all that done. And it's like the first day and it's like, all right, here's the bank account. Okay, time to shut up, time to start rolling, right? Then it becomes real. It becomes quiet. Then you're like, oh, what do I do first?
Yeah.
What's my job here? How can I help the team, right? So that's probably the first day. I will tell you a close second to that probably is the day I had enough guts to tell my wife what I was thinking. And she's always supported me in all the crazy paths I've had in my career and businesses and partners and everything I've done. Never stopped once. And, but we had it made. We had a good thing going on. I was having fun. There was nothing wrong. So to create a midlife opportunity on purpose was probably a close second.
It's a good time for you guys to go on a walk and get close together.
Yeah.
That's funny. In this podcast, student of the game, the things we talk about is mastering the fundamentals. Like in all business, there's fundamentals. The thing we say is, the strategies and the tactics change. The strategies and tactics to selling a home are maybe different than the strategies and tactics to selling a landscaping project. But the fundamentals don't change, right? And so we talk about mastering the fundamentals. We talk about falling in love with practice. We're going to talk, Zach, about, to you about what are the things you love to do? What are the things you fall in love with that maybe other people, just wouldn't sign up for your job if they knew that you did it. And then at the end, we're going to come back and talk about what does winning at the game of life look like for you. So as we transition into our pod, actually, before we ask the first question, we've talked to you. You do have a pretty extensive resume. Could you list off some of the things you've done, like the companies you've started, the places you've worked, or you don't maybe have to go to the names, but like what industries they were in? I mean, I know construction's one of them. Commercial contracting was one of them.
It kind of makes me tired to do this and go back through it all, right? Yeah. You realize in your mid 40s, no wonder I'm tired. I have gray hair. When you and I met, I didn't have glasses or gray hair, right?
Same.
But I had the privilege after I poured concrete for a summer, I had a privilege of getting another good internship with a, $1 billion construction company out of Chicago. In the Indianapolis market, traveled the Midwest. I built Targets, Galleon Sporting Goods, Von Mars. So I got to see a lot of big construction, hospitals, all good things like that. And then came back to the smaller market company here in town where I got my start in 7th grade. Came back for a few years there. Timing to that wasn't the best, but got a good experience of not only learning the construction side of it, but learning the business side of it. So got to learn about HR, insurance, payroll, line of credit, all that good stuff, right? So more than just a project manager, which helped me in the second half of my career when I, went to MKS. I had started 2 companies with my partner at that place. We had started a building maintenance company and a specialty subcontracting business. I came to Kinder, kept one of those alive. And then the blessing part at the MKS team is I got to be an entrepreneur inside a 140-year-old company. Mm-hmm. So we started a commercial real estate company. We started a furniture business. We started doing development work. So tried and true. I'm a BCM guy, Purdue guy, but got to experience all that and work my way through it. And then transitioned in the last half of my career into the sales and marketing team leader and building a team from scratch to sell multi-million-dollar construction projects. So not only building them, putting them together on the front end, but then, finding those new clients and then figuring it out. So
yeah, as internally as our team was talking, who would be another great guest for Student of the Game, this podcast, your name came up multiple times, and it's because of, we believe a student of the game is somebody who's a student of life, somebody who can look at somebody else and learn lessons, somebody who stays curious, somebody who tries things, somebody who takes action. These are all things that I believe describe you, Zach, and in your journey. And I think, one of the challenges with life and this Instagrammable society is, we see everybody's highlights. And a lot of times we just like to get on this podcast and just talk about the truth. Like, what's the truth? How did you get to where you are? And, so as we get going, let's talk about mastering the fundamentals, specifically with Clounie Landscaping. What are the fundamentals to your business? Like, what's fundamental, something that just shows up every single day?
Well, the biggest thing is we have a limited season, right? So very limited season. Yeah, we may do some snow plowing, some de-icing in the winter, but I mean, we're in the middle of our Super Bowl right now. It's June. It rained again today, right?
Yeah.
But we're out. We're figuring out how to get it done. So fundamentally, it's about taking care of those clients, right? Getting out and doing the work. Number one, though, sales cures all. You gotta have the work to do a good job and put in place to begin with. So making sure through the winter that, you know, we're looking at every opportunity that fits our wheelhouse and our ideal client, and making sure that fundamentally those things are, you know, we're looking at that work and we're getting that work back. We're providing a good value to our clients, booking the work and then executing the work. 40-year-old business, I can't screw it up, right? Our team doesn't want to screw it up. We want to build it for the next 40 years. So it's about doing what we say we're going to do, reputation, and just executing. So
that's awesome. I'll duly noted the next time we have you on the podcast, we'll have you in the winter instead of during your Super Bowl. This is an expensive ad we're running right now during your season.
We're good.
Talk about, you know, fundamentals in terms of leadership, because you talked about a lot of positions you've been in different companies or different seasons of your life where you've been in leadership and you've grown things, right? So talk about what are fundamentals to that growth and leadership in your mind.
Well, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, I think you and I have been reading books together since, I don't know, 07 or 06 when we met, right? Again, dating ourselves. We had more time. I don't think we only had like a kid or two between us. But just, I've been a student of the game, no pun intended, or to play to your podcast, but like truly drilling down and taking a little piece from everything I can ever read and absorb all the way through. For me, it's about the coaching mentality, right? I wasn't a star athlete. I played sports. I tried to play sports, but really coming alongside of everybody. And as I build a team, whether I was a young assistant project manager building a multi-million-dollar project with me, or me building a sales team who had no sales experience, and bringing a marketing person on, but it's about coaching them from that standpoint and putting myself in their shoes. And again, I ultimately always said, like, even when I was building teams inside of larger companies, I wanted that team to feel like our own little company, right? We were in control of our own destiny, and we were building that. So how we treated each other, how we communicated with each other, the trust we instilled with each other from day one, right? Until proven otherwise. I mean, just those basic stuff. I mean, from every great author you and I've read.
It's like your family shows up at work, and it's your work family, right? And right. you gotta have core values. You gotta treat people, you know, the way in which you know works. But talk about falling in love with practice. So I'm curious to know, somebody who's had their hand in a couple different businesses or industries, what are the things that you love every single day? Like, what gets you out of bed fired up? What are the monotonous things, the mundane things that you do? You know, I tell my kids all the time, I say, you can be great at anything you want as long as you love to practice. And if you love to practice, you can be great at just about anything you want, within reason, right? So what are the things that you love to do every single day that if other people maybe heard or saw this, they would not want to sign up for your job?
I like talking to strangers.
That's fantastic.
I'm weird like that. Like, doesn't bother me.
I can imagine your kids, like, if you guys are at the carnival or something, or you're out, you're at the pool, you're like, Dad, you can't ask that kid that question.
Back to school night. I mean, you and I are talking, we run into 4 people, and it's authentic, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it's not sales. And that's why I accidentally became the VP of business development in my past life. Is I was a project manager. I used to love the task. I was a spreadsheet guy, cross it off. I could build your schedule to build your building, all that. And I still love that. Like, I get sucked into that. But like, I realized, hey, I love going out, asking questions and playing the curious kid. Yeah. I love it, especially in Northeastern Indiana, because everybody is just so welcoming, right? In my past life, I used to go into all these businesses that you drive by for years and you're like, wait, you make foam for mattresses, or whatever I could tell my wife that night to bore her to death, right? There's a lot of great people and a lot of great businesses making a lot of great things, providing a lot of great services. So to just go out and learn that and see how we can help them, whether I'm selling construction services or I'm selling landscape maintenance now, you know, beautification to your yard, or pleasure in your residential backyard as we branch out into residential. So I love that part of it.
We have a lot of students that listen to this, whether they go to my kids' schools or they find us online. And I think I want to talk to the students here for a second, because, you know, without any experience, sometimes it's easy to lack confidence. And what I'm hearing you say, Zach, is sometimes you can find confidence in yourself when you make it about somebody else, when you make your conversation about somebody else, when you're curious, when you're genuinely curious to want to know how other people are succeeding, how other people are winning at the game of life, what other people are into and interested in. I think when you seek out helping other people first, it provides more confidence than any other thing you could achieve on your own. And what you're saying, what I'm hearing you say is I'm genuinely curious about what other people do for a living and how can I learn from them.
Right. Best thing about our country, right? Everybody, capitalism at its best, everybody providing something to everyone. And I think that's key. I mean, there's people growing up, right? I grew up we were talking about this last week. I used to come to Fort Wayne like maybe once a month, right? And I only knew my way into Glenbrook or Southtown Mall or whatever. But so like, and there's names I've heard all these years, whether they're prominent developers, real estate brokers and owners, whatever, business owners, C-suite people, right? People that you put on a pedestal as a kid. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go talk to that person. But so I was always nervous when I first got started, and I first started, in the BD route and just building relationships. And then you realize, no matter how many times you heard it, but you have to realize it for yourself. Just go talk to them, Great people. I think Don Steininger is probably one of those people for me, Always heard Don's name. He's done so much in town, both for the not-for-profits, the real estate market, whatever it may be. That guy, the first breakfast I had with that guy, he's so forthcoming, just curious, like just telling you everything and then asking you tons of questions about yourself, but just telling you stories that you can learn from. The list goes on of those conversations that started out as a half-hour lunch that turned into an hour and a half lunch, right?
Absolutely.
So have the guts to do it. Nobody's judging you. Like, go out and pick up the phone.
I'll never forget when I graduated IPFW and played basketball there, and I was getting into real estate. I didn't know anybody. I didn't grow up here. I didn't go to high school here or anything like that. And I just thought, okay, who do I know? Well, as a captain of the men's basketball team, there was a lot of donor functions that we had to go to. Well, there was a donor list, and so I was like, okay, I got to be careful with this list. But one thing that I did is I said, I'm going to invite all these people to breakfast, and I'm going to pay for it, and I want to learn a little bit about Fort Wayne. I want to learn about how they became successful. Well, I got to tell you what, there was 50 people on that list. I think I made it through 30 that I got a hold of. I did not pay for one breakfast. That's where I learned to drink coffee, because I was like, I don't drink coffee. And all these successful people drank coffee. We had breakfast, and they paid for them. And what I learned is truly successful people are willing to share the playbook with you. And I know you've probably found that exact same thing, but that's exactly what I learned. So why... When somebody has information, they want to share it with other people. They want to. And I know you're that same way. If somebody's listening and like, I want to reach out to Zach and see how he's done it, I'm sure, schedule permitting, maybe in the wintertime, you'd go to breakfast with somebody.
Right.
Right.
Yep. I like to talk. I like to eat. So
and you like to learn, eating and talking and learning about other people. Like, does it get any better than that?
Exactly. No, it's fun. I mean, it is the energy boost, right? That comes to those of us that are wired that way, and it puts it in perspective. Like I said earlier, you look back and you're like, oh wow, no wonder I'm tired, or oh yeah, I did live through that, and oh look what I learned. That was part of my street MBA, right? Like, I could have never learned that if I didn't go through that issue and learn that most difficult HR conversation or that banking issue or opportunity, all along the way.
One of the things that I've started to do probably about 7 years ago was to keep a journal and to journal. And I would say I'm fairly good at journaling daily. So good that I keep a record of them. And I'll tell you, one of the most important things that I do, I don't do it often, but maybe once a quarter, every 6 months, is I'll go back and I'll read some of my journal entries from a year ago, from 2 years ago, from 3 years, 5 years ago. And what it does is it gives you an appreciation for how far you've come. And I would encourage you, if you don't journal, start it, because it's cathartic. It's a very good exercise to get your thoughts and emotions on paper. And then to realize, like, hey, I don't have to be that scared of what I'm going through right now, because everybody's going through something similar. And then when you can go back and read, I was like, oh, this is where I was 5 years ago. It gives you a greater appreciation for how far you've come. And I think there's some confidence that, you're provided from that.
Immensely. I would agree.
Any tips to talk about the grind? Like, what else do you love about, Clounie Landscaping? Like, you love the mechanic side of it, like I got to fix another mower today, or the bookkeeping side of it, or the spreadsheet side of it? Like, what's something that you love to do specifically to the landscaping business?
I like change in general. So
Yeah.
I like change. So in the landscaping business, so when I say change, I mean, I like coming up, building departments, building businesses, right? In the landscaping, it's change, right? We show up, we're the last person, whether we're doing a big commercial project, or we're doing a residential rehab project, or somebody's putting a pool in and we're finishing the pieces around it, doing the hardscape, the patio pavers, outdoor kitchen, right? That change that happens overnight. I used to run construction projects that would take 12 to 18 months. Now we come in and it could be a day, could be a week, could be a month if it's a big project, to come in and see that change and just those finishing touches put on a project. That's fun. That's rewarding for me. I love to go out there and visualize it ahead of time, playing the visionary for the overall company, but also for a project. I think that's where I'm really embracing the residential side of the business. I get to walk a property and be like, oh, if we did that, let me tell you, like, this is what I would do. Like, and just play vision cast and brainstormer. So that's fun.
Recently, as of last year, we launched a luxury real estate division called Noll Reserve. And in luxury real estate, luxury is defined by the top 10% of home sales in any market. So now it's almost like a golf handicap. Like, you could compare Fort Wayne to Chicago, to New York, to Miami, to Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And so $500,000 is kind of like that threshold for luxury real estate. Well, in my mind, there are certain vendors that do a really good job in that niche space, and you're one of them. And so I know you and I have had several conversations, in our luxury division, is, you're one of those businesses that we would love to introduce you to more and more people. So if you live in a home that's $500,000 or more, and it's in that luxury space, it's not because, if you're under 500, you shouldn't hire Clounie. It's because you get a little more bang for your buck, a little more return on investment when you're doing these big projects. But I love walking properties with you. I've walked a couple of them, and your ideas are just like so out there, which is awesome because like as a traditional residential real estate guy, like we don't think about that all the time. Right. And it's really neat to see how your brain works. And so I would look at that as something that, being a visionary like you are, being somebody that has to be creative 24/7, like maybe somebody likes change, maybe somebody wants to do their own landscaping project in their backyard, but I could imagine that that's probably fallen in love with the practice, where not everybody would want to do that every single day. Like, it gets tiring every single day to come up with somebody's project. Do you ever get tired of just dreaming of what something could be, or is that just kind of like how you're wired?
That's how I'm wired. So of course we got great designers we partner with. I'm not a designer. I'm a construction guy, but from a visionary standpoint, I love that side of it. Mm-hmm. That's the best part, and probably one of the main reasons to buy into a business like this. Look at it as a platform, as a foundation, and then within the first 2 months, we started doing site work, right? So what's next? Okay, we're digging someone's pond. We're doing a driveway for them. We're doing a sports field, right? We're not going to go out and be, a giant site contractor doing the next Amazon in town. But let's go out and figure out what the next thing is and how Clounie differentiates itself and how we can provide value, right? Yeah. Is it site work? Is it turnkey? Are we going to take care of everything for you on your property from, soup to nuts all the way through? So then that you as the owner can, go enjoy it, or go golfing, or do what you do, go to the lake, and then come home and, your outdoor kitchen's in place. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, another thing that I think about with you is, you're somebody who's built buildings. Mm-hmm. Now you're building backyards, but talk about building teams, because, people are one of the greatest assets we have. Talk about your team and the workforce, and what separates great team members from average team members. Like, how you've seen different industries, they somewhat align with each other, but mm-hmm. talk about your current team a little bit. What do you look for when you're hiring? What do you look for in a great team member versus an average team member?
Great question, right? If we could all figure that out and be perfect at it, we all wouldn't have mishires. Right? I don't care how many consultants do hiring, help you, coaching, all that. I tell everybody, just to start out with, the team that I inherited, mm-hmm. With Clounie, you can't really do due diligence on a team, right? You can look at the numbers. Everybody's like, what's your biggest surprise? And I said, great people. I knew they were good people. A lot of them I'd worked with, mm-hmm. but that's different than when you're sitting beside them and they're on your team and you just paid for them more or less. And, this is the team that you said, all right, I'm going to go build this thing with,
Yeah.
right? So good people, number one, but put them in the right seat, right?
Yep.
I think in my first 60 days, all I did was go around and I sat with each person and I'd be like, Brad, this is what you're doing now. What do you like about your job? What do you don't like about your job? What keeps you up at night? Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
And it wasn't my agenda because I had to figure out where everybody stood, right? I've seen it in the past with, really large companies in the past. They come in and tell you what role you're going to be in. That's no fun, right?
No.
Oh, you're going to be the safety guy. No, I don't want to be the safety guy. I want to be the project manager or the quality control person, right? Well, I just need you. So really evaluating that. And then we use EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. And so we have a people analyzer tool that we use. So right person, right seat. And once we, went on that fact finding and listening tour, kind of break it down and then made sure that aligned with our overall accountability chart. And we planned on what we had from day one when we walked into the business to where we want to be at the end of 1 year, into 3 years, into 10 years, put it all together and fill those gaps and those holes and figure out, provide a career path for people to go on. That's my new thing.
Would today's Zach hire the seventh grader Zach?
Great question. I probably missed a few spots when I was string trimming, but actually I remember the lady who was in charge of the office, she used to, and I just ran into her the other day, which is hilarious. But Judy would come out and tell me if I missed some spots when I was sweeping, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
I hope
great.
so. I mean, I showed up.
I think I got this from a leadership conference I went to is, leaders' job is to find, sign, and develop talent. You
Yep.
got to find the talent, then you have to sign them, then you have to have, an attractive comp plan, you have to have, the right work environment, and you have to develop people. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have as leaders is we're trying to develop ourselves when in all reality, we should be developing the people around us at equal parts. And so I know EOS is a great tool that we use as well to do that. What are some mistakes you've made? What are some things that you're like, yeah, probably not going to do that again?
Being a visionary, you also think you're the problem solver, right?
Yeah.
I'm a quick start, right?
Yep.
If you look at, I've taken almost every personality test over the last 20 years, right? And you look at my personality profile, I jump in just because I can go with my gut and I need to stop and ask more questions and really trying to do that, especially being the new person. And not that you want to prove yourself, but also you just want the path of least resistance. You want to get stuff done. So if somebody comes to you with a problem, right? I'm a high D. I'm just like, let's figure it out. Okay, why don't we do that? Let's go buy that tool, or let's go do this, or we need a truck. What do we need? Not asking the questions of how we got there. So that's probably my biggest challenge. I mean, every day, even probably before I came here, some situations I was dealing with, right? It's just that reminder. I need to write it on my hand. So it's in front of me.
So it's right there.
My forehead when I look in the mirror.
In this podcast, one of the things that we like to talk about in leadership and building businesses is that at the end of the day, relationships win. And the game that we're playing, the game of life that we're playing, we believe relationships win. And I've had some funny conversations with my team and my kids recently about how if you believe relationships win, then you also have to believe it's also true that some relationships lose. And that just, it's a great analogy. It's a great thought. It's a great word picture to keep me accountable into building those relationships. And you talk about your teams and you talk about investing in your teams. I love how you called it a listening tour. I think every leader needs to do that. They need to go and sit and listen, to their team members to see what's really happening, what's going on, so that you can make good decisions. I mean, we've always been told, and I know it's in every leadership book out there, that if you want to go far, you got to slow down. You got to slow down and pause and listen a little bit. But let's get to the wrap up here. What does winning at the game of life look like for you, Zach?
Yeah. So always been goal oriented person, from day one. You're talking about journaling. That's the one thing I keep failing on. I start every January, but I've always written goals out even before EOS or Sandler or anything that's made me do goal planning, corporate life in my past life. But for me, no matter where I wanted to be, it was always about a balance. So I would just, as I had kids, I just got up earlier, right? Because I still wanted to get home. They were only up from 5 to 8 or 5 to 7. I'd get the computer out afterwards. So not perfect at it. Had times in my life, especially when I got into more of the sales side, that I was out, you know, meeting people and going to not-for-profit functions. But to me, it's about, you know, that family environment and trying to be there for them. Now I get the great opportunity of working in my own business. My wife has her business in Roanoke. My kids work that. My son comes over, works with me in this business. He gets to go, you know, measure up some residential jobs where he can be, you know, so he's 11, going on 12. So he gets to learn the business. So that balance, I mean, I'm always thinking about work. I'll have the opportunity to think about work and figure out where we're going. But to be able to intertwine those lives has been key this last, 15 months for me.
I think one of the biggest mindset shifts I've ever had in business is when I went from an either or mentality to a both and. I didn't want to either be a good dad or a great business owner.
Right.
I didn't want to either have a strong faith or be, invested in the work that I do every single day. I believe it could be both and. I want to be both a good husband and a great business owner. And I think when you can understand that they can live together, I don't ever think you're balanced.
No.
ED, balanced. I think it's balancing. Ing is action, right? And you're taking action. You're constantly firing. Your muscles are firing constantly. If you talk about balancing, and I believe it's a both and versus either or, and I think that's exactly what you shared, because I think you can fall in love with both. I love the fact that my kids know that I work hard. It's one of our family's core values. Work hard is one of our family's core values, and I love that my kids know that Dad works hard. I also love that my kids know that Dad spends time with the kids and invests in them, and I think that's just that mindset that we have. So, as we wrap up this pod today, thanks for being on here. By the way, I want to ask you a few more questions about Clounie and how people can reach out and get in touch if they want any questions on landscape designs or projects that they may have. But before we wrap up, you've talked a lot about mastering the fundamentals and what that looks like as an entrepreneur, and taking risks and being okay with the outcomes. You talked about falling in love with practice and everything that you've done, behind the scenes to get you where you are today, and the resume that you've built, the experience you have. Again, if you're somebody listening that doesn't have any experience, you just go get some experience. Start building that resume. Start building, what you want to learn. My grandfather told me, he goes, go to work to learn, not to earn. And if you start off going out to work to earn, you're going to miss some opportunities to learn. And I thought that was great advice from my grandfather when I got started in real estate. Matter of fact, when I got started in real estate, I didn't know how you got paid. So I definitely went to learn. I wasn't there to earn anything. Matter of fact, Lindsay bought her first house, and I was just sitting there watching. So I definitely wasn't going to earn. I didn't even know how much you got paid. But
the money takes care of itself.
The money does take
the money, whether it's in a real estate deal, a business deal, your W-2 income, right?
Yeah.
You go in and provide value and just listen and be flexible and grind it out some days, and you'll win, right?
And I think Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll have everything in life you want. And I think that's wise words. But as we wrap up, the kids these days say, give this man his flowers, or give this woman her flowers, or give them their flowers, which is just show them some appreciation and accolades. Who's somebody that's been instrumental in your life? Who's somebody who's helped you get to where you are today? And who's somebody you want to send some flowers out to today?
Probably my wife. I would have to, she's been along for the ride. I've drug her around the state. I've drug her through different career opportunities that, really, if she didn't agree with me, she still supported me. And like even with this one, she was like, well, you haven't screwed anything up yet. So her backing and just encouragement, right? I mean, to be a spouse, to sit along and say, hey, we're going to do this, and oh, we're going to do this, or hey, I think we should do this. What do you think? Just empowered me to do, what I want to do. And she sees that it is how I balance, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a either or, like you were saying. And with her, with her support, couldn't have done it. So
that's
huge.
Awesome.
Yep.
Shout out Beth. You're a saint for
Yes.
chasing, for keeping Zach in line with all of his crazy
Yes.
ideas. But this one's a good one. So keep up the good work. So shout out
Yep.
to Beth. You know, I was reading a book. I won't quote it exactly, but I remember they were talking about success, and I know, you know, earthly or worldly success is defined differently by people. But one of the things that they said is the number one predictor of success is a supportive spouse. That doesn't say that the spouse has to support you with every decision or even every season of your life. But having a supportive spouse is the number one predictor of success. And so, Beth, you get the flowers today. So that's awesome. Zach, how can the listeners help you out? Clounie Landscaping, where can they go find you? I'm sure you're on the internet, social medias. Like, how can people look up Clounie Landscaping to know more?
Yep. So we started, bringing our web presence to today's world. So we're on Instagram now, Facebook, LinkedIn. We've started rebuilding a website. So we got some of our testimonials and portfolios to show what people can have done at their place, whether it's the residential space that we're moving into, like you talked about, backyards, full service on the backyard side, or on the commercial side from the new install, new projects coming in town, or also maintaining current properties, right? Campuses and things like that. So Instagram, website, LinkedIn, all those, typical channels. So we're out there and have a presence and would love to help. So.
That's awesome. And then who are people you want to be introduced to? So if I have a listener right now who's listening just for leadership advice, wisdom, things like that, who are the types of people you are looking to be introduced to? Are they other project managers of construction companies? I'm assuming if somebody's building a building and you're coming in last to do the landscape, that's probably a good introduction. Who else are good introductions for you?
Yeah. So estimators, project managers with, commercial contractors, the luxury home builders in the market, right? So anybody bringing those to market, any of the design teams working with those type of clients on either both commercial or residential, and then facility managers or C-suite executives that, may run an insurance company in town that has a 20-acre campus or a healthcare system and those type of people, so that we can continue to, help those people with ongoing maintenance and facility work. So
that's fantastic. Zach, thanks for being a guest, a student of the game. Our conversations are fantastic. I always love it. I always love getting a text from you, like some random text, of like, hey, do you know this person? Hey, do you know that this company's moving to town? I just feel like you're the mayor of Fort Wayne or whatever of Northeast Indiana. You have your finger on the pulse, and I appreciate that about you. I love your go-get-itiveness, if that's even a word. But keep up the good job, and thanks for being a guest today on Student of the Game.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.